Just on that point then, the JSE All Share Index has fallen as much as 1%, a level not seen since mid-July, tracking its global peers after the US Federal Reserve raised interest rates by 75 basis points and predicted more sizable rate hikes ahead in order to try and combat persistently high inflation. Domestically, all eyes will be on the South African Reserve Bank's interest rate announcement this afternoon, which is also expected, by the way, to announce an increase of 75 basis points in order to bring back inflation within that 3 to 6% target range. Karl Gevers is an independent market analyst back on Daytime Update. Karl, good to see you. The local currency seems to be attempting some form of rebound finally, but will it be able to hold past that announcement by the Reserve Bank?
Yeah, good afternoon. The currency is trading about 0.5% stronger with the current rate to the US dollar of 17.64. There is an element of the US dollar coming off its highs, so weakening slightly, but also, the expectation that as you said, the Reserve Bank looking to hike and, pretty much guaranteed to hike 0.75% at least. So that should bring some attractiveness to the rand again. I think the trick with these rate hikes is, as much as they fight inflation, is not to, destroy economic growth, which is pretty fragile at the moment.
We focus rightly, of course, because it affects how much we pay, on this prediction of a 75 basis points interest rate hike by the Monetary Policy Committee. But I'm curious about the Reserve Bank's economic outlook, because that is likely to be more important in the longer term. Do you expect any surprises?
The Reserve Bank's expecting 2% GDP growth for the current calendar year, and that was a slight increase from the original. I think it was 1.7%. So there was a slight increase, but I think with the other factors that we're seeing, load shedding, that are putting pressure on growth and also confidence, that there might be a potential reduction in that expectation there. 2023, the Reserve Bank is expecting 1.3%. So these are not big numbers, if you compare it to other even developed markets like the US. So I think it is quite a balancing act in terms of, fighting inflation, but at the same time you have to ensure that there is economic growth. I know that the rand has to remain competitive, and that's another inflationary component, to the increase of import products that we bring in would be a lot more if the rand weakens. So I think first part is to keep the rand competitive, fight inflation. But I think on the other hand, for economic growth to really take off, one does need other enablers that from the demand side. So from the supply side. So enabling infrastructure that we've seen now, the roads coming under pressure, the rail system should work properly, and those kind of things that the government can bring to ease supply pressure. I think that that's certainly an area that we can improve in.
And Cell C's recapitalization of the mobile operator finally completed after years of negotiation. What exactly will that mean for the operation going forward?
Yeah, it's been a long time, and Cell C has been struggling with a big pile of debt, 7.3 billion rand of debt that they've been sitting on. Has been, putting pressure on operations and liquidity. So Blue Label, who is a big shareholder, when they bought initially 45% into Cell C, they will lend about 1 billion rand to Cell C to settle claims of secured lenders, effectively paying 20 cents per rand of debt as a compromise. And there are a few other moving parts, but the bottom line is, after the restructure, Cell C will have achieved significant reduction in debt and be in a better, liquidity position, and ultimately be able to operate again and better streamlined. So I think it's certainly positive for Cell C, and we've seen the Blue Label share price, one of the big movers up today, up 5% on this news. So I think it is positive.
An interesting story out of the United Kingdom. The digital regulator, Ofcom, now plans to launch a range of investigations which will basically be looking at the world's largest tech firms. What does it mean for them, and what exactly are they alleged to have done?
Yeah, it's one of those continuing sort of looking into the big tech impact of the different competitive spaces. So in this case, we've got Amazon with Amazon Web Services, Microsoft with their Azure product, and Google that basically dominate the UK market. I mean, in this case, 80% of UK revenue goes to those three entities from a cloud servicing point of view. So the Ofcom looking into the competitive landscape there to see if these companies are harming competition and if they're barriers to entry. There's obviously no view yet, so it's a start of an investigation and probably recommendations in about a year's time. But we'll see probably similar investigations into messaging where WhatsApp, FaceTime and Zoom, for example, have a big share of the market and just the dynamics they're being investigated to see if there are any anti-competitive behaviors there.
Karl Gevers, good to speak to you as always. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.